And we are live. Yes, we're live on Let's Think Podcast. And I'm your host, Sheikh 7 Islam Male. And before I begin, you know how we always do. We always have to promote the Fez deal. Please support the Fez deal. Get him at Sheikh Sufi Fez on Instagram. That's CheikHSufifez on Instagram. Support the Fez to get your urban Islamic Sufi experience from jewelry, clothing, etc. And allow me to do this. Allow me to rise, giving all thanks and perfect praises unto Allah. Highest honors to his holy prophet. Honors to the forerunner Marcus Mosiah Garvey. Honors to the Moorish Science Temple of America. Honors to all leadership, past, present, and future. Honors to my leadership, Brother L. Portisel, and my grand sheikah, Sister M. Portisel. Honors to all leadership, past, present, and future again, and honors to all of you participating in the comprehensive program of uplifting father humanity, Islam. And allow me to once again introduce our guest, Brother Kemetian Adept Heruphant. Yes, sir, say it right. Heruphant. Yes, sir. And we have our brother in here to give us another demonstration for the people to chew upon, to think upon, to research, do your due diligence. Whether it comes from me, our brother Kemetian, or any of our brother guests, our esteemed guests that comes to this platform, do your due diligence, because man knows not by being told. Islam, Islam. Brother Kemetian, how you doing today, brother?
All is well, brother. All is truly well. How about yourself, brother?
Brother, we here. Alhamdulillah. We most definitely here. We're here. I
Yes, sir.
hey, and that's the only thing I can. That's the only thing I can ask for the great God Allah is to be where He deems me to be. Islam, Islam.
Right.
Yes,
Islamism without the schism.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Um. So today we have this demonstration, and I know this is going to be one that many may have to do their research and revel over. But however, we're here to demonstrate a measure. We're here to put a particular measure on the manifest. And why not it be yourselves to deal with this particular topic? Professor Drew, the Egyptian adept student, Moorish Muslim or Muhammaden Mason. Now, now, I this has been the Masonic topic has been topics on our last two shows here on the Let's Think podcast with our brother Solomon Sheikh. And may I give honors and gratitude to my dear brother for his presentations on Let's Think podcast and his willingness to share his wisdom with the listening audience on Let's Think podcast. So I just want to say honest to him for his participation. But today is going to be a specific topic in that particular area. We're talking about Hamid Suleman, um, a figure and topic of discussion during the time of the Noble Prophet, and this should be a good one right here. I think one should tune in, and everybody who will be tuning in, let's go, let's go, let's go. If you're in the building, please hit the like button. If you're not subscribed, please hit the subscribe button. And we will have a little Q&A if we have time at the end. So please super chat your questions. If you have questions, you can super chat them and we'll get right to them. But at the end, we'll possibly have an opportunity to deal with questions. So, brother Kemetian, talk to the people. Talk to the people, brother.
Yes, sir. Well, let me rise upon the seven first, brother, within the unbroken circle of justice, mercy, love, and right, and give all praises to the great God Allah, Father God Allah, and honors to his holy prophet, honors to our holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, El Hajj
Absolutely.
Sharif Abdul Ali, that is. We give honors to our Moorish kin once again, here, there, and everywhere. And therefore, honors to all of you who are continuously honoring yourselves by being yourselves. We give honors to our Grand National Seal, Grand National Emblem, National Flag, Divine Constitution and bylaws, and honors to all of you who are indeed a living manifestation and personification of everything our Holy Prophet brought to exhume us as a nation. Want to give honors to all of you. I'm your host instructor, coming forth to give my measure. And we have exactly what you stated, brother. We got a grand draw in the brain to the manifest. And it's going to be a powerful demonstration. In fact, what I want to do, entering in, we're going to come forth with our ancient Kemetian Adept Moorish American prayer, in harmonic vibration, so we can really open up the way for our ancestors. Ya Allah abnu heru makuneteru. Ya Allah abhet heru. Ya Allah ma'at heru. Ya Allah hotep heru. Ya Allah heru. Ya Allah ma'at herukut. Ya Allah wadetejud. Ya Allah pert im stek pert im heru. Ya Allah bamadu. El hejit shepsis re tu ali. Amen. Hallelujah. 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 And that is the same Moorish kin in transliteration. O Allah, the Father of the universe. O Allah, the Father of love. O Allah, the Spirit of truth. O Allah, the Spirit of peace. O Allah, the Spirit of freedom. O Allah, the Spirit of justice. O Allah, you are my protector. O Allah, you are my guide. O Allah, you are my salvation by night and by day. O Allah, through your holy prophet. O Allah, Drew Ali. Amen. Aliyissa. 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 Islam, Moorish kin.
Islam.
So, sir, and we vibrating the ether. So without further ado or delay, it's time for us to go ahead and get it in, grand man. And we got to keep shock value on your end.
Yes,
so we're gonna send you this PDF.
Yes, sir.
But we don't want to give you the gifts, so to speak, before the time. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. We want you to get it and really, you're gonna get it either way. But
you know I will. You know I will,
yes,
brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You already know. So again, this is brought to you by, and my screen is sharing too, right, brother?
Let me see here.
I just want to make sure I'm sharing over here.
I see. Yeah, I see it. Yes, sir.
Okay.
I see it.
Let me know when you put it in queue.
We in the building.
Yes, sir. And we're going to put a little speed on this demonstration, but we're going to emphasize the things that need to be emphasized,
Absolutely.
and things that don't need to be, like we did last time.
Yes, sir.
When I go to study and I go to putting them together, you see I got 136 in here.
Woo!
But anyway, Oh yeah, but
Woo.
we're gonna run them. We're gonna run them down. We're gonna run them down. So this is brought to our family by the Egyptian Adeptus Research Sultanate Session. You know, ears. You know, ears is the acronym
Ears.
for that. Yep.
Yes,
And so
sir.
hope
In
you
the
know the
ear
thing about the
is
ears,
in the
brother.
heart.
That's what I was getting ready to say. When you look at the ears, as it truly is, my brother, you can connect that to heart.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you remove, you know, the letter H off of the front and the T on the end. You know, we can also see earth if we were to put the
Absolutely.
H on the end. Ain't that
Absolutely.
powerful?
Yes, sir.
So, you
Absolutely.
know, you already know we had to put this as our cover right here.
Woo.
You know,
Yeah, I
because
remember
after
that picture
looking,
right there. That's a
yeah, after,
controversial one, ain't it?
oh yeah, you know, and we done seen people put a whole bunch of pictures up here, don't look nothing like our prophet, and passing them off, you can't even see it. But when you look at this detail right here, brother, and this was coming, I found this looking for my prophet in Kemet in Egypt, you know, and it led me to this area. And, you know, when you put that beside the calling card right here, come on, man. You see that there?
Yes, sir.
You see
Absolutely.
that striking measure? So it's my position, you know, through my research, and it brought me here that this is my prophet. You know what I mean? If
Mm-hmm.
people can make wild claims, you know, and not have nothing to stand upon, then at least with me, with the evidence that I got to back what I'm saying, you know, we'll do it. Because this is what scientists do. Scientists put forth a thesis, you know, and then if later, you know, we find more information, if one can debunk it, you know, then come on, you
Absolutely.
know. But other than that, you can't help but see that striking resemblance right there. You
Mm.
know, and the garb that they have on is very important. This garb that they have on, brother, is very important. And we even said that this actually looks like our brother Deuce Muhammad Ali right here. You see it?
Mm. Mm-hmm.
You see it?
Mm-hmm.
Now we know Deuce Muhammad Ali was from Sudan. You know,
Mm.
there's a lot of activity in regards to dealing with that. You know, so I just wanted to start off with that, but look at the garb. The garb is
Mm.
important because we're gonna show you something about this garb. We done seen our Moorish kin with this garb on a lot of time, but let's just move on. Our approach, the way we come forth, you know, my chairman always told me if we were to run into some Frenchmen, as our brother R. German Bay, being a Mason, used to call the Masons, you know, he said the
Mm-hmm.
prophet took his fez off his head and told him to be the plain truth. Like, I, your prophet. This is what German Bay conveyed to the chairman, you know, because he had a Mark Fez on. And we're going to get into some of that later. But he told my chairman, he said, I'm going to teach you a little French just in case you have to run into a Frenchman along the way, you
Mm-hmm.
know. But my chairman always told me and told us that if we were asked by a Mason where we hail from, we don't say we hail from African Lodge 459 or Arquette Lodge this or, you know, whatever lodge that. We tell them that we hail from the lodge, the Grand Lodge of Luxor in Kemet. You
Mm.
see? And there's a reason for this, you know, because Luxor is the true house of initiation, so to speak, for the adepts of Kemet as well as the Great Pyramid. And it's something else as I was putting this together, brother. I didn't realize that I put the 9 wonders of the world in chronological order while I was doing this.
Mm.
So you're going to
Mm.
see it, brother. The signs and symbols as we move from, you know, the very top to the bottom, so to speak.
Absolutely.
This is going to be powerful, family, when we demonstrate this measure. So Y'all just have your paper and pen on handy. So anyway, the Ansoretic priesthood of Moors, keeper of the Ansoretic mysteries of the Hashemites and the Moors of Asia, a unified mystery stream. This is the paradigm from whence we come. You know, it's necessary that I tell our people this so they wonder when I demonstrate, you know, where it come from, why do I demonstrate in the way I demonstrate? What is the methodology? I'm showing it to you right now. You know, the Ansoretic mysteries of the Hashemite Moors of ancient Asia. A lot of people, when they hear this, they think of Pasha Beverly, you know, Randolph. You know, however, what he came into in the knowledge of what he acknowledged in reference to, you know, the Ansoretic mysteries and the Hashemite Moors of Asia already existed prior to him bringing what he brought on the manifest into existence. But we pay homage to that one because he was of an Asiatic hue, and he demonstrated an Asiatic methodology that ties right into that which would be brought later by our holy prophet. Very powerful. So when we go here, if you look, there are various measures. The first is, you know, what we call, you know, ancient Kemet of Egypt. You see the Ankh is a symbol here. Osar, Osiris, the mysteries of the Sabaite, the wisdom teachings of Kemet, you know, the solar Aten initiatic temples, which you seen me demonstrate on one of the shows we did before. You see, we're dealing with the mysteries of Osar, the resurrection. Same thing in our Moorish Holy Quran. You know, the Sabaite, the wisdom of the ancient Kemites. You know, the Aten concept of monotheism that existed, you know, the proto concept of monotheism that existed prior to, you know, the Muhammaden concept, Abrahamic faith concept. It doesn't take anything from that, but this is what an Egyptian adept does. A Heruphant is a revealer of the light. That's what a Heruphant does. So there's a difference between an Egyptian Heruphant and an Egyptian Shriner. And we don't say this to slight those in those organizations. This ain't no anti-Masonic demonstration we getting ready to demonstrate up here. You know, so we want to make that plain from the beginning. We're not teaching any hatred toward Masons. We're just letting you know that our holy prophet Noble Drew Ali took a different path. Professor Drew, Egyptian adept student, the true founder of the first Canaanite temple. Moorish Moslem, a Muhammaden Mason. We finna put this argument to rest, and we're gonna be honest with all of this information that we bring on the manifest. Now, what one do with this after we get done, that's on them. So the Hashemite lineage, you know, this deals with the Muhammaden light. Notice I say Muhammaden light. There's a lot of argument about whether Muhammad existed or didn't exist. I'm telling you, he did exist, but there's a hidden aspect of this because the Arabs that have been, you know, corrupted with racism, they don't want you to know who this Muhammad is. The historical Muhammad is referred to as having brown skin and dreads. Yeah, locks. You know, and we're going to get into that at another juncture. You know, but the greatest essence of Muhammad, rather than getting caught up on the physical, is the Muhammadan light, which we call Muhammad al-Nur. Nuri Muhammad, like our brother in the NOI. You know, the light Muhammad. This is what our ancestors demonstrate in West Africa. The Sidra people, the people who follow the ways, you know, of the Damanka Moors, are the teaching of our family of the Muridiya and Sheikh Ahmadu Baba. You see, when you deal with Tasawwuf, even outside of West Africa, Tasawwuf focuses on Muhammad the light. And Sunni al-Kamil is what they refer to it as well. You see? So we getting ready to go there. So when it come down to dealing with the bloodline and the sovereignty, of the house of the prophet, Muhammad ibn Abdullah, what we call the Alabait, his family, we come through that bloodline, which was a Cushitic bloodline. When you deal with the Fatimids, where did they come from? So that's one aspect. The Ansaritic brotherhood, deal with the teachings of Gnostic cosmology, wine allegories, hidden imam, reincarnation cycles, secret rites, and initiation. This is the type of knowledge that is encapsulated in our Moorish Holy Quran, whether people know it or not. Who is the first person into whom Yehoshua was reincarnated? Prophet Muhammad, the Conqueror. How many times greater did our holy prophet come for? 5 times more greater. Right? So when you look at
oral sayings, yes, sir.
Yes, sir. So this is the knowledge that we unravel. We come from these streams. This is 5 streams of wisdom. We have the Moors of Asia Major. See the anchor? The anchor represents the law, be it the land or the water, because we're talking about maritime law as it relates to water, the divine harbor, Asiatic identity, nationhood and God, Moorish science and esotericism. All of that is what we demonstrate. We universal with this thing. Unified mystery stream, dealing with Tawheed, the divine unity, sovereign nation of God, eternal gnosis, which our Moorish Holy Quran mentions gnosis.
Absolutely.
But in this particular measure, we're going to be dealing with Kemet and a little bit of all of this. So let me go on. I just want to let y'all know what the premise is. Remember, in dealing with, since we're talking about our prophet, I can't help but give praises to the great God Allah, for our prophet in his birth, January 8th, 1886. And this is my grandson, Al-Mohadid Shabazz El, Hassan Al-Mohadid Shabazz El, and I look forward to the day where he can succeed and pick up in the work, that I have started. I was able to whisper words into his ear, just like my nephew, Al-Mohadiz, who also took a portion of my name, which represents the Unitarian degree. But my grandson, when he was getting ready to be born, they said he was going to be born on January the 10th. And after I had whispered them words in his ears, I said, no, he going to be born on January the 8th. This is what I told the doctors. And they swore up and down, no, it's going to be, the 10th. And my grandson is born on the same day that the Holy Prophet is. So to me, that is definitely a sign of love divine. Not even to mention, after doing the DNA, tracing the ancestry back and actually being Moorish, as well, my DNA, also going back to Kemet, Sudan, in my DNA. My maternal mother, 280,000 years old. My paternal father, 180 years old. Descending from the line of Ramesses III, which we all do. E1B1A. You see? And my ancestors moved across to Africa, straight through the middle, the Sahel. They touched every aspect of North Africa that our prophet mentioned when he talked about the nations that are Moors. Chad, Algeria, all them nations going all the way to the door of no return where our people was taken in bondage. So I feel my ancestors have been speaking through me for some time now. Praise be to Allah for allowing me to conduit, and we don't say this in arrogance and boldness. We say it with pride. Now, before we get into anything, we got 3 ruffians up here, and these particular ones, have caused a lot of confusion in our community. A lot of our people have been following their works and reading their works. Muhammad al-Ari, European. Jacob Dorman, European. And Patrick Bowen, European. Everybody that has been getting information about Suleman, their information has came through these ones directly or indirectly. They the ones that have come forth around the same time, and they actually have overlapped. They deal with each other. You know, one of them, this guy here, actually had the nerve to try to ask me for, you know, some of my information. I'm gonna click on the link and show it to you in a minute, in a little bit. This guy right here is the one who wrote the book, The Princes and the Prophet. All of them wrote works, and these works are pretty much, you know, to contaminate the legacy of Prophet Noble Drew Ali. I don't care what nobody else say. That's what they did. Patrick Bowen and all of them really never come to a conclusive measure in their information, you know, and I'll go into some of it in a second, you know, but they never came to a conclusive measure in their information and said that the prophet was a student of Suleman. They only asserted this, at least Bowen did. You know, he the one that put all the most of the groundwork in, and these guys took from the information, the bibliography, and ran with it. With other, and this dude had some dude up there, Walter Bristner, don't even look nothing like our prophet. I guess he one of them one that say all black people look the same. You know, that's what they like to say. We know we ain't black, but you know, so he can't tell the difference between our prophet and this circus performer that he found to try to make our prophet, and say he faked his death. And then he got, you know, a picture of the brother Lomax Bay wife, you know, saying that that's Sister Pearl Drew Ali. Just all over the place. Terrible. You know what I mean? So we know he confused. But this one here is an Islamist. You know, something more the ones that go out there to being an Orthodox Muslim, go against anything that's unorthodox. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. That's what he is. So he definitely out there trying to slander the prophet, but had the audacity to come up in my measure so he can get some demonstration to put his paperwork together to slander the prophet. Now I'm gonna tell you something. The source material that most of these guys use come from this guy, but most of his information, he don't know it, indirectly come from me. Because he got a lot of it from my brother Dr. Aline Bay page, and Dr. Aline Bay cropped a lot of his information from my page, and then he actually give me homage and say, see, brother Al-Muhaddiz, you know, he let you know where he got some of the stuff from. But I was there today when Aline Bay was clipping from my page. He went down the line, you know, and all is well. It ain't no big deal because I put my stuff out there on Facebook for it to be got. But I just hate these ones took from it and then tried to use that information to slander the prophet. That's why some of the information I'm going to release in here, I had never shown to the people because of the way it was misused, the original information. So these are the three ruffians, like I said, that have come and went against our holy prophet, you know, to try to slander his character. Whether they did it purposely or not, it don't matter. But it is beginning to do harm, and they telling people, you know, even though these are their assumptions and they didn't come to a conclusive measure that Suleman was the prophet's teacher, people are using their information to demonstrate that. So let's go into it. Let's go. I'm going to move a little speedy now. First and foremost, Prophet Noble Drew Ali has a census record. In this census record, if you look at it, and it says the evolution of Thomas True. Yes, that's the prophet's name too. People try to act like the prophet was faking and trying to hide under the name Timothy Drew. No, he wasn't. We know the prophet was adopted. So there's a possibility that he had a name of adoption, you know, and also a possibility, you know, of somebody misquoting him on his name. That could be a thing. But I'm going to say Thomas Timothy Drew. You know, and there's record out there that says that it was Aaron Payne who actually entered the name Timothy Drew into the records. But that's a whole nother measure. You know, that's neither here nor there. We know it's talking about our prophet, both names. We're not here to deny that. And those who try to act like our prophet was being disingenuous, you know, they just looking for a reason to, you know, try to come against our prophet because they ain't got nothing there, so they pulling straws. But in this document here, and we want y'all to understand, dealing with the census. Most of the time, if a census is taken and someone is present, then you can see that their presence is on the manifest as a result of the census. Here it says 1886, and it's blank. We know this is the birth year of our prophet, all is well. It says Thomas Drew, 1898, labor. You know, Princess Anne Avenue, Norfolk, Virginia. We've seen birth certificates with Norfolk, Virginia there. And people don't know Virginia and North Carolina was once one at one time. I know you probably know that, don't you know, Brother Seven?
Absolutely.
So when you're speaking of Virginia, in all actuality, you're really speaking of the Carolinas. You know what I mean? If you had that knowledge. So he would have been 12 years old according to this measure here. You know? Then we have Thomas Drew again in 1900 as a farmhand. And it has the same name, Annie, you know, Avenue, Norfolk, Virginia. Then it says John James Washington Drew, Lucy Drew, Addie V. Drew, Brenny Drew, you know, and then this is where the truth begins to unfold. If you notice from 1900 all the way up to 1910, they come up with one on Nicholson Street, which is totally different from the other addresses up here. And it says Thomas Unknown. So automatically we're going to strike this right here from the record as this being the prophet because it's unknown.
Mm-hmm.
But when we see the prophet surface again, he surfaces under the name Elidru, and it says porter. And we know the prophet worked as a porter. You see?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody know this. And also the birth certificate will say the same thing. I'm just dealing with this time frame. So count between 1900 and 1916. That's 16 years where there was a silence, you know, of the prophet's presence. What was he doing this time? Where was the prophet during this 16-year period? I'm going to show you. Now, in the teachings of dealing with the people of Kemet, this is an actual document from American students, you know, that were accepted in Kemet, in Cairo. Asuit is another name for Cairo, Egypt. This is 1907. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that the prophet was in one of these pictures, but these are American students in Egypt. You see?
Mm-hmm.
Young men. Young men. So we know that students were going over there. So when you hear this is not a far-fetched thing, we are told that our holy prophet went with a band of gypsies, you know, that were in the circus arena, so to speak. And this is how he found himself in Egypt. He left in 1902, according to the records that we have. And we see that, again, his presence is not anywhere to be found in a 16-year span. What you think about that, Brother Seven?
That's a significant span.
Now, it's only a particular group of Moors who demonstrate that the prophet went to Kemet. Our brother R. Lovell,
Right.
my chairman, you know, and there are other Moors who too as well. And they all say that he was given the name El Hajj Sharif Abdul Ali. Why do these particular brothers have this name? Because of the lineage that they come through. Everybody else outside of the lineage refutes that the prophet went to Kemet because they don't have the lineage. And we're not saying this to attack anybody. We're just saying you wouldn't know because you didn't come through the lineage. The prophet said he would give his high name to the good Moors. We know Noble Drew Ali was not the high name because they already knew that. We know Timothy Drew or Thomas Drew was not the high name because everybody was familiar with the name, at least Timothy. So what was the name if we believe in our prophets' hadiths? Because they come from the same source that our Moorish Holy Quran come from. The same people that passed the Quran down to us after the prophet is the same one that passes oral statements down. So if you're going to discredit the oral statement, then you got to discredit the Moorish Holy Quran as well. You see? But nevertheless, the reason why a lot of these people, if you look at them, they didn't come through the lineage, so they wouldn't have the name. The adepts was given that name. The ones who come through the lineage. You see, and that's how we can tell who it is. We know who got the lost word. You hear me?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So, what we have here for people that think it's a myth that people get initiated in the pyramids, we actually have a group of what we call, the Silent Brotherhood right here at the entrance of the pyramid. Pyramid guys. You see that there at the bottom entrance of the pyramid?
I do see.
You see? So this ain't no myth. And look at the hue on them. You don't see no pale Arabs up there. And there is another group of our people. The Moabites, or Mozabites. Look at them. Don't you never let nobody tell you that these ain't your people. And if you look at the gear that they have on their head, then you will see where our holy prophet got it from. And that's what we're here to prove right now. Now, anybody that has done any research, this is what we're finna get warp speed running through this thing, people, so y'all follow me. This is when the prophet was a young man, around 26, 27 years old. Our holy prophet was initiated before both of these individuals, and they both are Egyptian, in their birth. This is Hamid Bey. He didn't even know how to speak English when he came to the United States of America, around about 1927. The prophet had already been initiated. This brother was given a test, though, in his initiation, if you go through his history. This is the one that Houdini tried to go up against. And Houdini ended up losing his life as a result of playing with this adept. They was buried under the dirt, so to speak. And this brother here came up, after the days of burial, holding intact. Houdini, unfortunately, passed form. Because Houdini would act like he would be buried and all this stuff here, doing this so-called magic before the masses, and he ran into an adept, and this adept challenged him to prove that he was who he said he was.
And the adept don't be playing.
Yes, sir. And Hamid Bey was actually, look him up when y'all get a chance. He was initiated after the Prophet Noble Drew Ali went through his test. Prophet Noble Drew Ali was taken through the pyramids, and when he came out between his paws of the Sphinx. He was blindfolded. He was given nothing more but a cup of water and told to find his way out of this particular chamber. That was his test to see if he was the one that they thought he was. This brother had to swim through a crocodile-infested area that leads into the pyramids, And then when he got in there, he had to use mind power to keep from getting ate up too, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Once he passed the crocodiles, he had to sit in the pyramid, and there were 12 rings. And there was a poisonous plant in the center. And he came from the 12th all the way up to the 7th. He couldn't get no closer. He had to filter that poison out of his system. That was the adept test for him, or die. And he could only get to the 7th ring. And that's why he became known as the 7th ring master. And that's why he has 7 right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's why these are on his headdress. You see, they represent the closeness as he was getting. So you see the type of test they had to go through. This guy, I don't have a whole lot of detail on his actual test, but there's video of Haji Ali. This is Haji Ali. He was known as the human regurgitator. He would spew water for, long distances, so to speak. They got video of him doing this. If you look him up, you can see his actual video. He also came after the prophet. So the prophet went through his adept degrees and tests before both of these brothers. And they were the only significant brothers that were known as Egyptian adepts around the time of the prophet, even though after the prophet. 1927, this brother here around 1928, 29, 30, but they came after the prophet. So nobody can say either one of these was the prophet's teaching. That's why it's important. But they are circumstantial evidence of Egyptian adepts. And this is not some myth, when we use this terminology. The prophet was humble to use the terminology student adept. Now, what we see here, and I had to redo this here because the other one, you couldn't see it more. That's why this is not the original here. I end up having to redo this because it was unreadable, so to speak. And I wanted y'all really to be able to see what's going on. So look at the flyers and how similar they are. Look at what they call these brothers. This is Hamid, buried alive for 3 hours, and he lives. That's what he did with Houdini. Look it up. The youngest of Egyptian miracle men, a member of the Coptic cult, not a magician, but a genuine in person. This brother also was affiliated, with Annie Besant. We got pictures of him if you look it up. He was around Krishnamurti. He crossed the paths of Blavatsky and Henry Steele, all caught his pictures out there with Hamid Bey around them people. You see what I'm saying? We can't say the same thing for our holy prophet. There is nothing around there that show you that our prophet was around those occultists. You see? But you see our prophet here, and notice he's called the 7th wonder of the world. You see? And he demonstrated his measure of being bound with rope and escaping this. This is what adepts would do. You see what I'm saying? And this was being compared to the same thing that Yehoshua did, in Jerusalem when it came to the Roman authorities. You see? And it said that he would heal people, in the audience, without touching them, free of charge, as they stood in front of their seats, manifesting his divine power. This is our holy prophet as an Egyptian adept offering what he has. And he had been doing this right here, from a very early time. We're finna get into that in a minute. Again, you have this one here known as the 9th wonder of the world. Our prophet is the 7th wonder. This is the 9th wonder. So I guess that would make Hamid the 8th. You see, since he came right behind the prophet. You see, but again, look at what they called him. They said to science is Haji Ali's body. That Rockefeller Institute America have offered $50,000 for it after death. Wow. after demonstrating what he did, swallowing glasses of water and regurgitating like he did, they wanted to study this man. See, that's what the Europeans do. They study our people. This is a picture of the family of Ibn Saud, because a lot of people don't like to believe that our holy prophet, went to Mecca. They want to take him, they want to deprive him of his Hajj. Everybody else can go somewhere. We believe Moses, went up on, Mount Sinai. We believe Elijah went up on Mount Nebo. We believe Prophet Muhammad climbed Mount Hira. And these are things that we can't prove or we never seen. We going on this because it's revealed to us in books. But yet and still, you want to deprive our holy prophet, of his Hajj. But anyway, if you look around the people of Ibn Saud's family, look at them. You see all these Asiatics in hue that's guarding this man? So why would it be a wonder to you that our prophet would be unwelcome in the presence of these special ones? What you think about that, Sip?
Yes, sir.
And so this picture is a picture that was given to me by an elder sister through her grandson.
That's an interesting picture right there.
Yeah, it was given to me. A guy reached out to me, said, my grandmother told me to get this to you. I don't even know who the sister was. And she said, this was the prophet in Egypt. That's what she said. Now, I can see the resemblance right there, but I'm just going off of what was given to me here. You see? My prophet's word is enough of him saying that he went there. We're going to get into that in a minute. One thing we have to remember in this picture here, which you'll see various different dates depending on where you go. For some reason, people do that when it comes to certain information. But, this was another one. When I found that first pyramid picture I showed you above, I found these at the same time. And I even gave it to you when and did your own research. Who are these brothers here, Brother Seven? They are dragnet men. What are those? Those are tour guides. So they are the people that take people on tours when they come as well to Cairo and so forth and so on. And here's a picture where I spotted looking for my prophet. And if you look at the prophet right here in his youth and look right there, come on, man. That's uncanny. That's uncanny right there. Huh? Mm-hmm. Right or wrong? I'm just showing you this, just warming our people up. We finna get to the evidence in a minute.
Yes, sir.
In regards to dealing with, the prophet being there. Now, there's a newspaper clipping here. And it says, started as a fakir. The prophet's true name is Timothy Drew. In 1915, he was accompanying a Hindu fakir in a circus shows when he decided to start a little order of his own. The first temple was set up in Norfolk, Virginia. I've seen some more information saying that the prophet set up.
That's right, exactly.
So I don't argue with that. I'm still clear too while I'm speaking, right?
Just a little bit of feedback.
Okay. I just want to, make sure. So anyway, it says that from there in Norfolk, even though this is not, documented by a lot of the Moors that abroad, so to speak, it say he left there, then he went to Newark, New Jersey, and then he went to Chicago in 1925, but I say, well, what fakir could have been on the manifest? We know Pramahana Yanza, Uganda, so to speak, he wasn't on the manifest during the time of the prophet per se. But the prophet mentioned himself being in India. And there's a possibility that he could have crossed paths with this brother because he was very well known, for his work. You familiar with this brother, right, Brother Seven?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
this brother
Who
was
is that?
most definitely present during the time of the prophet. And he moved around in a gypsy band
Yeah.
with music, somewhat similar to what they say our prophet had dealt with, in his youth, so to speak. But this is a brother by the name of Hazrat Aniyat Khan. But if you study the works of both of these brothers, you can see a lot of the overlap in the teachings that they taught and what the prophet brought. You see, we still unwinding. You know, again, here are pictures of the brothers. You see the style of the garb that they have on, very similar to the prophet's sheep garb. And we see, the brother Hazrat Nia Khan in his fez. But this is when we get into the good stuff right here, Brother Sim. Dr.
Absolutely.
Drew. Dr. Drew. Now, this comes from our prophet himself for those, who have questions. If you believe in our prophet, then you believe what he said. Notice it says this, the great divine healer possesses power to heal all kinds of aches. Remember they were saying that above earlier. Let me blow it up a little bit. Pains, fevers, consumption, dyspepsia, convulsions, lumbago, heart disease, indigestion, neuralgia, paralysis, piles, female diseases, rheumatism, nervousness, bronchitis, asthma, fits, constipation, deafness, blindness, etc. A young man now. Before Dr. Sebi was Dr. Sebi.
Okay.
Huh?
Yes,
So you
sir.
gonna mock our prophet for doing this? Because you have people try to mock our prophet for doing it. And I got his Ortiz and compound right up there in my pantry. And boy, do they work.
Let's get it
These
in.
strange secrets are from that great country of India. A demonstration will convince you of his mysterious power. So he letting you know where he get his healing knowledge from. It says, call at his office today and you shall be healed. Men, women, and children of any disease, natural and unnatural. He can drive away all evil influences and give business advice and clairvoyance, second sight reading, and you may call and see him at once and he will relieve you of your trouble. But the prophet say these teachings came from India. This is where he got them from. Now, I put things in order and perspective here because this is dated to 1916. So what we have here in reference to this information, Thomas, Dr. Professor Drew, the Egyptian Adept student, Newark, New Jersey, 1910 to 1924. This is where I did my research. This document compiles verified primary scholarly sources. And that's a primary source right there. I just read to you. Concerning Thomas Drew, also known as Professor Drew, the Egyptian Adept student active in Newark, New Jersey, between 1913 and the early 1920s. This persona is associated with the individual later known as Noble Drew Ali, founder of the Moorish Science Temple. The materials below include a Newark Evening News article, 1916, a calling card reproduction. And that's what we showed you earlier with, say, Egyptian Adept student. It's actually in the thumbnail. 1920, census record reference and scholarly citations. It says Newark Evening News, June 27, 1916. Primary article describing Dr. Thomas Drew, Egyptian Adept student, arrested in Newark for clairvoyance and medicine charges. They like to mock our prophet for this. But our prophet was actually released. He was released. We got this. We're going to show you what it said. Dr. Thomas Drew advertising as an Egyptian Adept student who has been performing miracles in his mysterious chamber, an attic room at 2nd, or if you want to call it that, School Street, for several weeks, and sat most of this morning in a cell in the 4th precinct locked up. He was charged with pretending powers of clairvoyance and selling medicine without a license. How you gonna lock somebody up talking about pretending powers of clairvoyance? Is that even a crime?
No.
But he was released. So it says again, the calling card, public domain reproduction of, Professor Drew's business card, listing 181 Warren Street, Newark, New Jersey, identifying him as Egyptian Adept student with the phrase, "I am a Muslim." This calling card was reproduced in scholarly works, including, here your boy here, this one on two, Fatty Abdats, before the feds. That's another I didn't really put up there, but, he got some information up there like the other 3 ruffians we talked before. One in our profit.
Yes, please.
1920 U.S. Census record, Newark, New Jersey. Census entry lists Thomas Drew residing in 181 Ward Street, Newark, occupation, preach on public streets. This directly connects to the address as printed on the calling card. Source again, Wikimedia Commons and Fatty Abdat. They giving him the credit, but this stuff was already there. Fatty Abdat before the feds, Journal of Race, Ethnicity, Religion, Patrick D. Bowen, there you go. African American Islamic Renaissance, they go to book. Blog essays on early Newark mystics, Newark Public Library, Microfilm Archives, Newark Evening News, 1916. This material provides verified historical record of Thomas Drew's activities as Egyptian Adept student in Newark, New Jersey, bridging the early esoteric public persona and later Moorish Science Temple Foundation period. Now, my question is, where was Suleman? Our holy prophet predated Suleman, according to this information. So that killed the whole argument. I can really shut this whole demonstration down now.
Boy, let's ball there, bro. Let's ball there.
We got to make it plainer. So here's where I posted this to my page here, right? Back in 2019. Look at who is asking me. Fatty Abdat.
Yeah.
In my page. 2019. Salam, Brother Cop. I'm very interested in using this brochure for an essay. Can you send me a better image of this? I would credit you in my essay if you like. Then you. Huh?
Yeah. Okay.
See this here? So when I say that I'm the source that a lot of these individuals been coming to, some of them tell you, some of them won't. We can't make this up, family. We can't make this up. And you seen that. That showed my Facebook page, right, Brother Seb?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I want to make sure when I'm sharing this that they can see it. Now it's still showing my Facebook page right now, too, right?
Yes, sir.
If not, what I'm gonna have to do, I stopped screen. I just stopped screen. Okay, let me open this back up, and I'm gonna just hit entire screen because I want to make sure that our family see this. Okay. Okay. What in the world? You got my phone over here trying to go to listening to me talking, brother. Yeah. So again, let me show our family this right here. Just give me a second here. I'm trying to move through it. Okay. Go back to StreamYard on the studio. I want to go back to my original.
There we go.
The world did it close it? Yeah, that's what happened. It's all right. We're gonna open it back up.
Hmm. Absolutely. But you're gonna do a new, yeah, order.
Yeah, I'm just looking for my PDF. What in the world? This thing here done.
Ain't crashed out at it.
Now, it didn't crash out. What it did, it took my PDF off of there. And it ain't got any history. I got it though. Ain't no pressure. We're gonna do it like
Uh-huh.
this right here. I'm gonna just I'm gonna hit export again, like I want to go into it, and then open up the. I'm not trying to export this. What are y'all doing? I'm just opening it up. Goodness gracious! Hold on, let me see, sir. Okay, there you go. I'm not trying to do that. Okay, there we go. Here we go. No, I want to open this up. Once I get it back over, all as well. Come on now. I done beat this little thing up so much it don't even wanna. Let's see. No. Come on. It's not letting me open it up. It ain't even giving me the option to open it. Boy, I tell you. Wrong submails, boy. It crashed that demonstration right out. Hold up. Give me 1 second, family. Okay, let's see. It should be down here. We know it ain't down here, then we know, yeah, they definitely playing with us. My little system so bogged down with information. Come on, they literally knocked that demonstration up out of there, boy. I'm gonna have to do what I wasn't trying to do, brother. I'm gonna have to do it like this here. Because it's not letting me go in there and do it no other way. That's crazy. And it should have been in my history, man. Yeah. Okay, so give me a second, fam. I got to republish this dang on thing because it's not letting me find it any other way. But I got the whole screen sharing at this time, so I shouldn't have no problem. Right when they was getting good, too. So, Brother Seven, why this loading up? So far, what can you get from this special draw that we demonstrate? You there, brother Seb? Our brother must be sleeping over there.
A little bit. What happened is my equipment dying over here.
You say what now?
My microphone was dying over here too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you really sleeping, brother, we can shut it down, man, and
No,
start
we
another time.
keep going, bro. Keep going. Yeah. Let's go.
Okay, well, I'm letting this load up. And I'm gonna just keep it open, and we'll run through this special drawing. If you decide to doze off, I'll still be over here getting it in.
Get it in, brother. Don't worry about me.
I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it in. I'll be up 3 and 4 in the morning, bro.
Yeah,
But
bro. I dig it.
and then some of the people like these late night demonstrations, so we'll
do your
entertain
thing.
the audience. We'll entertain the audience.
Don't worry about me. Demonstrate. Don't worry about me. I got this. Demonstrate, man.
All right.
What's up?
Do this here. Come on, load on up. Document. That's crazy that document, I done saved it on here 2 or 3 times already, and it won't let me open it up the way I had opened it up earlier. I got to literally load this thing up again in order for it to open up as a PDF.
Really?
Because I got live links in here. And so I want to be able to click on them links, you know what I mean? And then go into it, demonstrate my presentation like that.
Oh, man.
Because the people didn't see, I know they didn't see what I had because I wasn't sharing my whole screen a few minutes ago when I was speaking.
Yes, sir. Do it again.
Yeah, it's almost on.
Okay. Let's wait on it.
Right. And I apologize to the fam out there. Y'all know Rome ain't built nothing to last.
Oh, man, listen. We all good.
Come on. Now open sesame.
There we go. Yes, sir.
So here we go, fam. Again, this is what I was showing y'all.
Okay,
when I was speaking on the guy, right here in my page. You see it right there. This is the same guy, was trying to get this information right here, 2019. One of the ones that been writing this slanderous material against my prophet. I didn't respond to him. Family. Now let's keep it rolling. So we already done established the fact Suleman wasn't nowhere around in regards to dealing with this right here. We done established the fact a lot of this information that they drawing from came indirectly through myself. Because y'all know I put it out there on the book if you know me. So this is the prophet's calling card. What I did, because it's hard to read, I came over here. I had to take my time to do this. Read it. And then I reproduced it so you can see it clearly. This goes to the office hours of the prophet, 181 Warren Street, Newark, New Jersey. This is another primary source. Prophet say, I am a Muslim. What's Suleman at? Where was Suleman when the prophet was Professor Drew? To you people out there hollering that Suleman was his teacher. Where was Suleman? What was Suleman doing? Professor Drew is a man who was born with divine power. He was taught by the adepts of Egypt. You think Suleman was the adept that he was taught by? Well, you're going to have to produce the teachers that Suleman taught that were adept. Where's Suleman's teachings to prove that he was the prophet's teacher? That's a question that we asking. Where they at? Where they at, Sam?
I don't know.
Where are the teachers of Suleman to prove that the prophet was his student?
I don't know where they at, bro.
It didn't say adept of Egypt. It said adepts in plural of Egypt. Suleman is one man. So who is the other person that was with Suleman teaching the prophet? I have the secret of destroying germs of tuberculosis, cancer in the lungs in 10 to 30 days. Your lungs can stand a very strict examination that the germs are entirely destroyed. Prophet Noble Drew Ali was talking like this in 1916. Dr. Sebi wasn't even on the manifest yet. Also, you see how far ahead of the time our prophet was? Germs of eating cancer, rheumatism, lumbago, heart trouble, female diseases, again, serious affections of the body. Same thing that was on the other document. Call at once adults and children and be relieved of your sufferings. If you have any doubt about my treatments, you can be healed before $1 is paid with security. Through these divine treatments, there has been great success of contagious and long-standing diseases which have been cured in 2 or 3 days. He had to be telling the truth because a lot of people were coming to see him according to this other document I got. I also gave divine instructions and interpret the Bible from Genesis to Revelations. So he letting you know he was cold-blooded with that exegesis. Also, have 18 years of Christ's life. This is very important. That is silent to your Holy Bible for those who desire to know more about Jesus Christ. This is back in 1916 before he published the Moorish Holy Quran in 1927. He let you know he already had it. See, people don't think. This is why I say, earlier, we got to be able to comprehend what it is we read and read into the essence of the thing. We don't say that to be mean or, beat nobody up. We just saying we got to read carefully.
Absolutely.
Sometimes people don't take that time out to do it. We want you to read. We want you to do the research, study. This research comes from years of staying up 3 and 4 and 5 o'clock in the morning. For over 30 years doing it like that. I just started sleeping right recently. Watch this. Watch this. It is right here. This is from 1916. Now, many of you have only seen a portion of this. Egyptian adept student is finally released by the judge, but on bail of $1,700. Dr. Thomas Drew's miracles, many. Dr. Thomas Drew, they refer to him as Thomas Drew in this article, advertising as an Egyptian adept student. We know this is the prophet who has been performing miracles in his mysterious chamber. So he was demonstrating the adept chamber. Where was Suleman? In an attic room at the 22nd School Street. We read it a few minutes ago. For several weeks, sat most of this morning in a cell in the 4th precinct, locked up, wondered how he could effect an escape. See, they being funny here. It being sarcastic. You understand? Because that's how Rome do in their newspaper. Call the Muslim voodoo cults and hoodoo fanatics and all that there. That's what they did with the media. Of course, he has twisted and broken such bars with one hand, has shattered great iron locks, and has brushed away handcuffs with only a smile and a muscle twitch. But they were his own bars, locks, and handcuffs. You see how they're trying to be funny?
Mm-hmm.
See how they're trying to be funny and sarcastic. The
Yeah.
professor was also noticeably, and you got ignoramuses among our people, try to take this and make this look like it assassinate the prophet of the character. No, we
Mm-hmm.
expect Paul to say all this nonsense,
Mm-hmm.
which had been fixed. Only people that like this and gloat over this is somebody that got hatred in them. Anytime you hate a man that died for our people, literally, man, something is wrong with you.
Yeah.
You ain't
Absolutely.
gonna get out there and give your life like our prophet gave his life. You
Absolutely.
handkerchief head Negroes out there that's running around trying to disrespect our prophet. Man, they done got me fired up.
Yeah, yeah.
Been,
Let's get fired up. Stay fired up, brother. Ain't nothing wrong with
yes,
being
sir.
fired up. Ain't nothing wrong with
Right.
being fired up. Now,
Yes, sir. Like my chairman say, made me roll my pant leg up and kick
roll
some
it up.
ass shit. So
Roll it
it
up. Pull your
says,
sleeves up too.
you hear me?
Yes,
It
sir.
say, now check this. It say, Judge Pilgrim to ensure his appearance before the grand jury when he is wanted to answer two charges. One is for pretending powers of clairvoyance. Like I say, when has that ever been a charge?
Exactly.
When has been a crime for somebody to demonstrate, clairvoyance, intuition, and telepathy? Oh, the mind is a weapon.
Mm.
A spiritual mind, a conscious mind is a weapon. That's the charge.
Mm.
Like our brother Andre 3000 said, I got a better weapon. And throw your hands in the air.
Yes, sir.
It says other accuses him of selling medicine without a license. We heard that before. Didn't they get seven for the same thing?
Yep.
So you're going to laugh at our prophet for trying to help his people and heal them? Information gathered by Detective Schroeder and Bowman of the headquarters shows that the professor had done a land office business in medicine and was waging a campaign to obliterate an illness from his neighborhood. That's a crime, huh? He had also given some very remarkable advice regarding prospective marriages, investments, and whatnot. Attired in a loosely fitting multicolored gown with a brilliant purple hood covering his head, Professor Drew, who was an East Indian with Virginia as his birthplace, told of his wonderful second sight powers last night when he was visited by the detectives. He visited Schroeder to invest his $1 million as planned and said he would be repaid threefold. There was some European that came looking for our prophet after his demise that cried because they came back to think about his investments that he told them about.
Absolutely. I remember reading that story as well.
Yes, sir. Information costs $1. It costs a Schroeder $1. It says for the information, despite the announcement on Drew's cards that he operated gratis, so a marked bill was given to him. They were marking bill back then like the prophet was slinging some drugs. What in the world? And later Schroeder and Miss Hughes, a policewoman acting as his wife, visited, or revisited the mystic chambers and had Professor tell again of his marvelous powers. Huh? This is how they try to set a brother up. It was a crime to try to teach people and heal people. They heard about him, so they had to go find out who this guy was. So that means if they heard about him, he must have been effective.
Absolutely. Well, that's without a question. Look how long the teachings of the prophet has been around. Look how long the Moorish Science Temple of America has been around. The oldest Islamic organization on the shores of North America. You do the math.
That part, a young man. It say with that evidence, detectives placed the professor under arrest and took him up to the 4th precinct with all his paraphernalia, medicine. After being placed in the cell, it says the prisoner said he was a finished scholar at the art of breaking through bars and didn't really expect to spend the entire night in lockup. Of course, the professor had a lot of other really clever tricks that he wouldn't do for a lone dollar, but other visitors to the mysterious chamber had seen it all. I'm going to tell you something, brother. And this is a real story. My father told me about a guy that lived probably in a town 30 miles from here that was demonstrating like this right here. And he was put in cells and he bent bars and all that type of stuff. My father told me about a guy like that. It wasn't a prophet, but it was a guy that was able to do that. And he said that people were running around saying that this guy, you know, was devil worshiper and all type of stuff because he would do things that was humanly impossible.
Absolutely.
You see what I'm saying? But anyway, it says, for instance, when the dinner time grew near, the professor enjoyed a meal and ate plenty nails if his audience was sporty enough to pay for the iron. Then he resorted to miraculous powers of healing to make indigestion impossible. The scores of children in the neighborhood is said to witness the nail mills of the professor. A silver of referring, it was stated, was exacted from the children. You know, so these are children that say they seen the prophet eat nails. And so, you know, we know the prophet was entertaining these seeds in the way that adepts do. You know, but and he did that for a purpose. He was trying to teach them the possibilities of man.
Absolutely.
You know, so that they will be inspired by that. But you got idiots that'll laugh at this. Ain't no different than when you see people out there that you like to call magicians working their so-called magic in the face of the public. You got it all over YouTube where they do it. You know,
Absolutely.
and people, you know, looking at this stuff, but the prophet was demonstrating adept science. He didn't call himself no magician. It says his was a 4-hour day. The professor worked only several hours each day, 2 hours preceding noon, and from 6 to 8 o'clock at night, he ate the nails during the twilight hours. Professor Drew said he learned his work in that great country of India. If he learned his work in the country of India, if he told them this, then this means the prophet had to go to India at some time. Right or wrong, Brother Sim?
I mean, that's what it sounds like. If he said that, that means he had to
Didn't
go.
that other document that we read say that he learned it from India?
Yeah.
The primary source we read earlier?
Yeah.
This is a newspaper clipping attesting to the same thing. And was able to cure aches, pains, fevers, consumption. Same thing that's listed on the manual. I ain't even got to read it again.
Same thing that was listed on the same thing that
on the
was
brochure.
listed on the products itself.
Yes, sir. After making it possible for the local health department to clean to cease business, the professor had contemplated changing over to London. So the prophet was contemplating going to London to open the eyes of the blinded soldiers. Oh, yes, he could do that. He had some wonderful experience in India among the soldier blind. There you go again. Remember I said, that's why I said it could be some overlap between him and Paramahansa Uganda. You see what I'm saying? If he was in India.
Jesus.
Yes, sir. The most expensive miracle that the professor performed was the ejection of all evil spirits and influences. Prophet said he had the power to make them incarnate.
Yes, sir. So
he could put a good spirit out there and make you want to fight.
Huh? Yeah. If he had the spirit to make him incarnate, he had his spirit to dispel them too.
That's right.
Yes, sir.
That's adept science.
Yes, sir.
thereby making it possible for one to enjoy a new night of perfect sleep. No New Yorkers appealed for such aid. However, hundreds of persons have been advised by the professor. And that's how Rome found out about him. According to the police, and the investigation is still being conducted with a hope of obtaining some accurate information regarding the size of his clientele. See, they want to know how many people have been influenced by this man.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and this lets
Mm-hmm.
you know part of the reason, probably, you know, along with other stuff we're gonna get into, why the prophet ended up, you know, leaving.
Mm-hmm.
See, yeah, we can't make this stuff
This
up, people.
is a heavy measure right here.
Yeah, and this right here is enough. But I'm gonna ask the question again: what's Suleman at? Where's teacher at? Suleman ain't nowhere to be found at this particular time. So that we done killed the fact that Suleman wasn't his teacher. You see, we're gonna draw it. We're gonna draw that hammer repetition though to make sure they don't get up. Egyptian Adept Master. You see, I had a prophet here, and you see
Yes,
when
sir.
I quoted the Grand Quran, it says, "Of them, there are some who pretend to listen to thee, but we have thrown veils on their hearts so that they understand it not, and deafness on their ears. If they saw every one of the signs, not will they believe in them, insomuch that when they come to thee, they but dispute with thee. The unbelievers say these are nothing but tales of the ancients." Grand
Mm-hmm.
Quran, Surah 6, out of 6th degree, in the 25th landmark. So I said, who would deny Prophet Noble Drew Ali his Hajj to the east, but those who reject his prophethood? So if you got any Moors of any grand body that deny our holy prophet his Hajj going to the east, when it is said that he was telling people this, we got primary sources saying this. He went to India. Then you reject his prophethood.
Mm.
Now, these are the words of my chairman. This is what he said. In 1902, Timothy Drew, born January the 8th, 1886, left the USA and went to Egypt at the age of 16. Wasn't he far too young to join any Masonic lodge? He
That's right.
returned as an ancient Egyptian adept master and Muslim of the ancient order of Islam. Wasn't he too wise to stoop to Freemasonry? In 1912, he graduated from the ancient Kemetian mystery system, Islamism. He was given the high name of Sharif Abdul Ali with the most benevolent degree the greatest school on earth could bestow upon any man as a prophet, angel, and Muslim, the name of faithful, and went into the holy city of Mecca, there being accepted by Sultan Saud, a direct descendant of Hagar. Ali made his Hajj, and with their protections and blessings, he left for the USA at the age of 27 with the sacred name of El Hajj Sharif Abdul Ali. He did not join a Masonic lodge while in Africa, nor Arabia, or Morocco, or India. So why would a lodge trade in their master for a bona fide holy prophet fresh from the holy city of Mecca? Following his meeting with presidential candidate Governor Woodrow Wilson, the holy prophet founded the first temple in 1913 on the second floor above Dixon's Barbershop in Newark, New Jersey, as a 27-year young Muslim and a tested prophet of Allah. Pray tell, what in this world could a bunch of denationalized NBC Lodge brothers suffering from mental slavery possibly have to offer the wisdom of Noble Drew Ali? That's what my chairman said now. And he make a good argument. He was too young to be a Mason at 16 years old. Why would he come back over here as an Egyptian adept to become a Mason? Now, he met Suleman on the way in his journey of coming back. from Cairo. So if he met Suleman, we got sources that talk about this, then what was the prophet doing over there before he met Suleman? Answer yourself that question. What you think about that, Sim?
That's a very.
What was
That's
the
a
prophet doing when he met him in Kemet?
we
Huh?
already. Mm, mm.
Evidently, he was on some other business outside of dealing with Suleman. Now, let's go into some more sources that they don't know about, that been in our face the whole while. I just looked at this recently, brother, and it blew my mind, and I had it in my archive. I got so much stuff in my archive, but I didn't even know it. Now, this is an FBI file. This is a questionnaire concerning our brother Frederick Turner L., one of the greatest Moorish American mob. We're going to touch on him in a little bit. He was being questioned by the FBI, and they said every state in which we operate, we recognize the laws of that state. This is him in his answer. It says, these two documents you have. He said the one that has a seal in which it is stamped incorporated in the state of New York, October the 5th, or October the 5th, pardon himself, in 1938. He said, surely. He said, do you remember what is the right date? Can you read that? Can you tell me when it was incorporated in New York, pardon himself, October the 5th, 1938? What is the date of the incorporation in Connecticut, October 17, 1938? At the time of your ordination, the movement had not been incorporated then. Because y'all know Frederick Turner L was actually a student in the school of the Canaanite temple as a young seed. His father, William, was a part of the body as well back then. He followed the prophet. His father did. He says, no, it was in existence. It was founded in 1913. It had not been incorporated. Then they questioned him. They said 1916, was it not? Then he said, really, according to our questionnaire, he said, I will call your attention to this document, which says, this is the FBI, founded May 1st, 1916. I'm going to show you what this is going into. He said that was when it was put on a solid foundation. But then he said, in any event, it was not incorporated until after your ordination. Yes, sir. So he's saying that the Moorish Divine and National Movement was not incorporated. You see? It says, and did you have two separate organizations? Were you ordained on two separate dates? He said, my date of ordination, it says, basically was the first ordination from September 1933. When he was ordinated as a divine minister. So I had this. This is the document he was asking him about, the agent. See the prophet standing here on this constitution? It said May 1st, 1916. May 1st, 1916. Where was Suleman at? I got to keep that. Where was Suleman? Where was it? I ain't seen him yet. In this particular constitution from the FBI file, notice Moorish Science Temple of the Divine and National Movement of America, Inc., Divine Constitution of Bylaw. This is actually Turner L's draw. In other words, when Turner L came forth with his movement, he not only talked about Moorish Science Temple, but he always included Moorish Divine and National Movement, because he knew that's when the term Moorish was ever used by our prophet. The first time Moorish had ever been used, truly, because we know when he say Moorish Science Temple was founded in 1913, that's talking about the spirit of the Canaanite temple. The first time it was used is when the prophet said this: to all governors and grand sheiks, heads and officials of temples, by order of Prophet Noble Drew Ali, has said the following during this, our very first convention. Prophet Noble Drew Ali said, Preparation Age of Soul, MST of A, Moorish membership. The Moorish Science Temple of America was organized to play a useful and defined part in the advancement of the sacred obligation of American citizenship. And he said, whereas the Moorish Divine and National Movement was founded for the purpose of uniting the Asiatic states of North America on May 1st, 1916.
May 1st, 1916.
Uniting of the Asiatic states. That's the purpose of the Moorish Divine and National Movement. It means all of our people, you and I tie.
Mm-hmm.
The prophet being due east has filled the vacant seat of our sovereign Godhead, Sultan and supreme grand ruler of the government of the world. Allah instituted laws for the government of the world. Let that marinate a bit.
Yeah.
So anyway, we have an original card. Moorish Divine National Movement, membership free. You see what it say? Come all you Asiatics. Learn the truth about your nationality, birthright. You know, etc. You are not colored, and you must claim a free national name to be an American citizen. Learn of your forefathers' divine and ancient creed, that you will learn to love instead of hate. We are trying to uplift fallen humanity. Come link yourself with the families of nations. We honor all the true divine prophets, Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, Confucius, etc. Come on now. Under this divine principle, all Asiatics of America need to come and take out their nationality and divine identification card for the Moorish Science Temple of America. It says that you may be blessed by your Father God, Allah. These holy and divine words from the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, founder of the Moorish Science Temple of America meetings, and it gives you the address, 3140 Indiana Avenue. We already know what that is. Give you the main office, 3603 Indiana Avenue, Chicago, Illinois. You know, he goes on. You know, he said, use our old Moorish healing oil and herb teas for human ailments. There it go again.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you don't see no I am a citizen of the USA in here. You notice that? On this particular card, you don't see that here.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder why. Where you at, Suleman? What's Suleman at? Somebody tell me what his man is. Now, before I go further, there's a drawing I'm going to pull up here. I want to do this. Dealing with this thing on Masonry. I'm going to show you where this confusion comes from. Okay, let's see here. Yeah, I'm going to show y'all where this confusion comes from about this Mason. Yeah, we got to show him that, Brother Sam.
Yes, sir. Don't leave a stone unturned.
We ain't leaving nail stone unturned, brother. We can't.
No, sir.
We know we let them get away with it. They're going to think they got some cushion. We done already crushed Suleman already. Now, this is the document, you know, that most people go into, and it's going to blank out a little bit. We're going to use it because I ain't got the paid version of this. This is talking about the Canaanite temple. This is the last member of the Canaanite temple. This is the controversy of why people running around here saying our holy prophet, you know, was a Mason. I want to ask you a question. What does these brackets mean anytime you're dealing with a situation of a word? Brother Sel?
Yes,
when you see brackets anywhere, if you read the Holy Quran and you see brackets,
that was added.
What does that mean?
That was added to the text.
It wasn't the original text. It was added to the text. Y'all remember that as we read through this. So it says, May 1978, it said the temple, I'm going to read as best as I can, gave its annual bus ride to, look like Hartford. It said our passengers were mostly Asiatic friends and relatives of brother somebody Ellis L. It says on particular ride, a new face were among the group, and a friend of a long-standing of Miss Richardson, and they put the brackets in it, brother L's cousin. Right? They did that for emphasis. I recall ever making his
Mobile.
Sound
like your audio kind of bad. You got a lot of static on your end.
Okay, what about now?
Oh, you good now?
Okay. And it says, on this particular ride, a new face was among the group, a friend of a long-standing Miss Richardson and brother L cousin. I recall ever making his acquaintance. It says, in fact, I never engaged him in a conversation during this ride or subsequent rides. For over 2 years, Miss Richardson kept trying to talk me into talking to the brother Walker. Many times she told me and Sister Ellis L that he knew our prophet. He had affairs. For some reason or the other, they say I wasn't interested. Late March 1981, she called and informed the Sister Ellis L to try and get me to go and visit the brother. He's very sick. That same evening, I went to the hospital and visited him. I introduced myself. It says, and he remembered me from the rides. We talked about his illness and what happened. And he was expecting his daughter to be coming in from Texas. I soon left. He had other visitors. The next day, I went back to see her and met his daughter, Diana. Shortly, his doctor came in and told his daughter all tests so far indicated he had cancer. Before leaving, I offered her my service. And he said 2 days later, I went back to visit him and found him alone. And I asked him the following question. Brother Walker, Jerry, has told me that you knew Timothy Drew. Yes, but I always called him Drew. He added, we worked together and belonged to the same secret societies. Then it say Masons and Odd Fellows. Tell me what happened right here, Brother Seth. Can you hear me, Brother Seven? Okay, I'm going to tell y'all what happened.
Hold on. My fault. My mic was off. What I was going to say, the Odd Fellows, though there may be Masons that are Odd Fellows,
that's right.
As far as that I know of, to my knowledge, that Odd Fellows are not necessarily Masonic organization.
That's right. The Odd Fellows is not a Masonic, but he put this here in brackets. That brother said they belong to the same secret societies, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he put Mason, Odd Fellow. The interviewer did that. That ain't what the brother told him. And it's going to be clarified further when we go through this. So it says, where did you meet Drew? Dixon Barbershop on Warren Street. We know that address from the information that we put out there earlier, right?
Absolutely.
From the calling cards and all that. Brother Walker, I always thought the barbershop was on West Market Street. No, it was located on Warren Street. It says, what did you all do in the barbershop in those days? He said the fellow met and talked and planned in reference to the Odd Fellows, which our brother Seven just told you is not a Mason. Odd Fellows are not Masons. It says, and they planned in the barbershop and was the neighborhood social center, and we had no place to meet, and most had no money. Was Drew one of the fellows? He said, yes. So for those of you who have been confused, now you get what a confusion is, why some people run around hollering the prophet is a Mason. Some of them hollering He was a Mason under Suleman. I'm asking you what Suleman at. Even here, where he at? You know, because you got to prove the prophet was part of Suleman's demonstration to keep saying that. Other than that, you just regurgitate what somebody done told you and they lying. Here, the people that can't read will be dumb enough to say, oh, he was a Mason because it said right here. No, this brother, the interviewer, is the one that put this in here in caption. The brother that's being interviewed, Walker, said he was a fellow, an odd fellow, which is not a Mason. It says, when did you first meet Drew? 1913, just before the First World War started. It was around this time I first started to meet with them. And the thing was rough in those days, no steady work. How did you all live? A day's work here and there. Those who did work, steady work, 12 hours a day. Boy, I know how that feels.
Yes, sir.
It says, did Drew have a job? Not that I know of. I believe he worked part-time. Brother Walker, you told me that you and Drew worked together. It say when and where? He said in 1915, we started to work at the Western Electric in the 18th Avenue, Newark. Did Dixon work on Western Electric? It says no, he still cut hair. Did you and the others still meet at the barbershop? Yes, but not as often because most of the fellows, there it go again, emphasizing again, what were these odd fellows, right? Not Masons, was working 10 and 12 hours a day. When we got together on weekends, the group had increased. What you said, Brother Walker, is the shop became too small for the group. Yes, it was decided we find a meeting place. What year was it when you found a place? 1916. Uh-oh. You see what that said right there, brother? 1916. Now, we need to see Suleman up here somewhere. 1916, family. It says, where was this place located? We found the place on the corner of, and I think that's Rutgers Street, because I'm familiar with that according to the literature. Yep. 12th Ave and the second floor with a saloon entrance. This is the Canaanite temple. Brother Walker, what month and day you and the group began to meet? It was in May. There you go, May 1st, 1916. Huh? Come on now. We took up collection to pay the rent on June the 1st. It says, and so it had to be May the 1st. There you go, when we first met. Goodness gracious. Come on, man. Come on, man. It said, who did the teaching? Drew did the preaching. What's Suleman at? What's Suleman at? Where he at? Dixon helped, and he was a 2x4 preacher. And we're going to let y'all, this is important that y'all know Dixon was. It says, what was your meeting place called? Temple. Was this the only name it was known by? No. I was trying to remember the first name. The name is a song about the Holy Land and the people that came from it. Was it Canaanite temple? Yes. Was Drew head of this temple? Yes. And Dixon the next. What's Suleman at as the founder? Even though we know in our record we say he was a co-founder. We say he was a co-founder now. But where was it? Oh, man. Oh, man. Y'all been listening to them three ruffians we talked about earlier. Don't know nothing about what they talking about. And now y'all exposed with them. We can really shut the whole demonstration down right now. Case closed. But no, we got to make sure y'all get it. Because we let somebody get away, they're going to think they got some cushion, brother. And we can't let nobody feel like they got no cushion. All the things I'm saying lining up. Is it lining up or not, bro?
They're absolutely lining up.
And we doing this right in chronological order, family. Now watch this. Okay. Listen. This is very careful. It said, was Drew the head of this temple? Yes. And Dixon the next. Did you know Dixon? He asked me. No, I have seen the name on the books in the Hall of Records. Brother Walker, I was told that Drew lost out as head of this temple. Yes, he did in 1919. This is the year of the schisms, when people began to go their own way. This is when the Moorish Zionist temple came up. This is when the Ethiopian temple of Islam under our brother Paul Nathaniel Johnson came up. There was a couple of groups started in 1919. But it say Dixon took over. This is when our brother figured out, our prophet figured out our brothers in Midwest was closer to Islam. Brother Walker, could you tell me what Drew preached about? He had a Bible, and he preached that we came out of the holy land of Canaan. Where was Suleman at, teaching the prophet this? Now, we got evidence of the prophet teaching about this Canaanite temple and Canaanite teaching right in our Moorish Holy Quran. But where's the evidence that he got it from Suleman? We were a holy people, and we was not Negroes, colored peoples, and Christianity was not the religion of our people, and we were not Christians, but Muslims. I spelled the word like it sounded. So in other words, the prophet was teaching all the same thing he taught later back then. But Dixon, who was Christian, wasn't able to deal with it. That's why he said Masons and Christians were going to fight him tooth and nail, but they can't win. So that lets you know the prophet wasn't a Mason right there. Right or wrong, Brother Seth, if we believe in his oral statements. And if you don't, again, I say to you that the same people that passed the Moorish Holy Quran down to is the same people that passed the Moorish statements down. Same people that passed the Moorish Guide down, which a lot of them statements come up out of the Moorish Guide. So if you believe in the Moorish Guide, you believe the prophet said what he said. So it says, did he preach all this in one meeting? It says no, at different times. Did Drew ever say what the religion of our forefathers were? Yes. It say over, and it looked like something else. Hartford, they say the years I forgot it. He said, when I went on to your ride, I heard the name Islam and it came back to me. So the prophet was teaching Islam back then too. Brother Walker, I've been told Drew left Newark in 1919. No, we were still working together on Plain Street until 1921, but I did not see him after 1922. Now this is when a change took place in the Canaanite temple. This is where they incorporated it, and it was Dixon and Turner L's father, and also Suleman's name wasn't present then, even when Dixon, but Suleman by this time began to do his work in Muhammaden Masonry. We're going to get to that. Brother Walker, I know you are tired. Answer one more question for me. What do you think caused Dixon to take over the Canaanite temple? When Drew kept preaching we was not Christian, and he and Dixon had words over this, and others joined with him. I left, but I promised him I would be back Sunday. I didn't make it back. I did visit him Monday evening. The first thing he asked was, how was the meeting today? And the meeting was most enlightened. It said, when you come home, I want you to visit the temple. And I speak, where it says, and speak to us about Drew. He say, let me let this do this here again, because I ain't going through the paid version. It's the free. You know, this come with it. It'll pop back up here in a second. So we see that Christianity, you know, and the clash between that. That's why the chairman say, our prophet said, get a church and Christianity back to the European, because of the conflict that it caused. So it says, he told me many times, I've said to myself I was coming out. And Brother Walker, how many of the original members still living? The last one passed 3 years ago. I'm the only one. And it says, Brother Walker, from what you have told me about Drew, as a young man, you enjoyed hearing him preach. If you could only bring yourself to believe he is a divine prophet and bring yourself to ask him to help you, you could overcome your illness. Jesus once said, faith is a ladder reaching from the heart of man to the heart of Allah. Try, Brother Walker. Drew will remember you even more so than you do him. Then he said the last visit to seeing him was Wednesday, February the 10th, 1981, standing beside his bed. He was breathing heavy. He reached for my hand and we held hands. For near half an hour, I tried to get him to repeat the Moorish American prayer, a Moorish prayer. He couldn't. And he demised around 3 a.m. Thursday, February 11th. The next day, a lot of this is talking about the people that he ran into and so forth and so on. But I rest my case right here, with what it is that I brought forth. Because it said that the prophet was an odd fellow. Do we have proof that he was an odd fellow? Not outside of what this brother said. The prophet could have simply been meeting there with them. But there's a possibility that he could have been an odd fellow, but an odd fellow is not a Mason. The only thing that I would say that symbolically would, substantiate the claim is some symbols. You see? It's some symbols. And that's the hand clasp and the all-seeing eye, which are symbols of the odd fellow. You see? And even if, let's just say our prophet was a Mason, so what? If he was, even though we can't find that nowhere. You know what I mean? Outside of the symbolism and so forth and so on. So we do know that every Mason, for example, is not a Shriner. Every Shriner is a Mason, though, because you got to be a Mason to become a Shriner. But that's not the same with odd fellows, Elks, the Pythian Knights, and so forth and so on. Pythian Knights is not a Mason, but you will find Masons that are Pythian Knights. Elks and Moose large affiliates are not Mason in origin, but you will find Masons that are part of these various different appendant bodies. You understand? But we know our prophet was the Egyptian adept. And that's what we're proving now. So hold on. Hold on. It's getting good. Now we're finna go to flying a little bit quicker. So we done established our particular measure here. Let's see here. Yeah, for those of you out there who believe the prophet is a Mason, you still believe that, you got to produce documentation. It's Masons that done went on this hunt for Moors, and they ain't found it yet, brothers. So the Canaanite temple is the first schism. Right? Then we had one that was said to be met around the same era and time, who came under the name at that time, Wali Farad Muhammad Ali. Master Farad Muhammad, one whom I have found his origins. See, Farad often spoke and used symbolic jargon. If you know anything about Wali Muhammad Ali of Egypt, 1805 and 1867, he has a great history. He was actually the link between Turkey as well and Egypt when it come to dealing with, what would later become known as the Young Turks, would grow up out of a lot of this stuff and everything. But he was the founder of the Muhammad Ali dynasty. So it ain't strange that Farad Muhammad called himself Wali Farad Muhammad Ali. So you say Wali Muhammad Ali, if you add Farad the first in there, Muhammad Ali Pasha, you get Wali Farad Muhammad Ali. This is Farad Pasha here, right? Sitting over here to the right, Prince Fuad Pasha, right? This is Master Farad when he was questioned by the detectives. This is, expression of Fuad here. Look at the flag that he has up here. In Arabic, it says freedom, justice, equality, and Allah. This is the flag of the Young Turks adopted, and it became later the flag of the NOI, freedom, justice, equality, Islam. And sometimes some of the flags say freedom, justice, equality, unity. But it is said that Farad actually tested our prophet in the book Black Gods of the Metropolis. It said that he tested our prophet and he was unsuccessful, but he wasn't the one that started the trouble. Because I used to believe that it was actually Suleman that was the foreigner that started the trouble. But this was the first meeting between Prophet Noble Drew Ali and Master Farad Muhammad. I'm going to show you the clear photo of this, which is the next one. Looking for Farad under his aliases, I found these photos. You see this 7? Look at that. This is Farad in his youth. And look, right here, you see the eyebrows? This is just a young version of him. I don't play with my research. This is a younger version. I found these photos at the same time. It says, from youth, manhood, and maturity, the founder of the Allah Temple of Islam, Dr. Fuad Mehmed Bey, another one of his aliases, aka Wali Fuad Muhammad Abdul Ali, widely known as Wallace Farad Muhammad or Master Farad Muhammad. There's a close-up on a ring dealing with that flag I was telling y'all about. The freedom, justice, equality, and Allah. Right there in Arabic. That's one of the schisms that came. Well, that wasn't a schism. That was his meeting. This is one of the schisms. I talked about Paul Nathaniel Johnson, Bahamid Temple, 1919, around the same time when the schisms was going on. He got a lot of lessons. Our brother P. Nathaniel Johnson. In this particular one, if you notice, he mentioned a pantheon among all the people, Nat Turner, George Washington Carver, like reincarnation demonstration. Enoch Idris, he said, Amen, Amen Ra. And the prophet pretty much is a reincarnation. Drew Ali. This is in the book, the Fahamic Gospels. So we know that he was most definitely a student of the prophet, according to my history that I've learned about him. But I mean, the evidence is right here. There's a measure here that I have taught many times in regards to dealing with the concept of seal of the prophet. So Pete Nathaniel Johnson in this Bahamic Gospel was talking about the seal of the prophet, and he said it simply means approved of God. What I've been telling our people the whole while, stamp of authenticity, that's all it means. So nobody can dispute our prophethood, because the Grand Quran don't say there's no last prophet. It say he is Khatam Nabi'in, seal of the prophets, and that related to the Arabs. The last one that will come to them. They ain't had nothing since. But what about us? Because it said that there will be those who are witnesses, who will come to be. There were prophets that were mentioned and some that wasn't mentioned. But anyway, the brother was expounding on this concept of seal of a prophet. Most High God put his stamp of approval on the seal upon all prophets and true believers as well. See the Holy Quran, the allies 30 and 40. Many prophets have appeared in the world since that time. The Son of Man hath the feather of Father's seal, John 6:27. Revelation 7:3. The last prophet of God to the Arabs was the holy prophet Muhammad. The last prophet to the God of the Jews was the holy prophet Jesus. And it's significant that no prophet has appeared to the Arabs and neither the Jews since these prophets came to them. But this does not apply to the so-called backward heathen and savage people who have no last prophet. So rest assured, God has not forsaken them, nor left them to the mercies of men. If there would be no more prophets, then there would be no more progress. We consider Drew Ali as a prophet. Huh? And Ahmad of India, the Bab of the Baha'is, as a prophet of God, and many others. Paul Nathaniel Johnson, student of Prophet Noble Drew Ali. In 2 places in his book, he acknowledged Prophet Noble Drew Ali prophethood, even though he called himself the prophet of Amun-Ra, the first prophet of Amun-Ra, which he said that Noble Drew Ali was a reincarnation of. He ran all of this down. And if we go into our questionnaire, we say, what is a prophet? A prophet is a thought of Allah made manifested in human flesh. You can't stop Allah from thinking. That's our definition of a prophet. Come on now. This is one of the cards of the Fahmi. It says ancient Islamic veiled Fahmi school of Islamic science. And he talk about there's no God there's except Allah. Muhammad is the master prophet. Is the messenger of God, and Allah is the first and the last, and children of religion with Allah is Islam. Muslim are the terms of peace. We don't quarrel with no one over religion. Fahmi is big on that. They don't quarrel with people about their belief system. You know what I mean? Then we have 1919, 1921. The Moorish Zionist Temple. So your original Hebrew Israelite groups come from Rabbi Mordecai Herman, Rabbi Ford, who was a Garveyite. Also, our brother above, Nathaniel Johnson, was a follower of the Ahmadiyya movement too, which is where he got the name Sheikh Ahmadine from. But there was a lot of people in the Garveyite movement, such as Rabbi Ford, who demonstrated an Islamic doctrine. The Moorish Zionist Temple, they honored an Islamic doctrine. So these original proto-Hebrew Israelites honored Islam. It wasn't like the modern ones that's been Hebrewed up into hatred. Here's a demonstration from the Negro, the Dictionary of the Negro, that I excerpted from 1999 and 1919, dealing with Rabbi Matthew. It talks about the commandment keepers, and Rabbi Ford, the Beth Ben-I organization, 1929 later, they grow into something even greater than what they was. But this is where your Hebrew Israelites have their origin from. So we can say in these schisms that we see on the manifest, like Wali Akram studied up under Paul Nathaniel Johnson, he started the Islamic movement. All of these people broke off from our prophet in the first schism, and they did their thing. We got it right here. Click the link on the and we're gonna send this PDF to our people. And it tell you about Mordecai Herman, the Moorish Zionist Temple, get your same years, that I gave you earlier. Let's go back. Here's Rabbi Ford, who was a Garveyite. He wrote the anthem, sung the anthem. You can see him right here with the bass in his hand, standing out in front there, the Moorish Zionist Temple again. In this particular drawing, it actually tells you in the history, the Moorish Zionist Temple, known as the Holy Moorish Zionist Temple of America, has a rich history and its fascinating origins. It is a religious organization founded by Noble Drew Ali. Timothy Drew in the early 20th century. They saying the prophet founded. Ali was born in North Carolina, 1886, spent his early years in the South as an adult. He traveled throughout the country teaching and preaching a message of unity and self-determination for African Americans. He believed that African Americans who been stripped of their culture and heritage needed to reclaim their roots and establish their own identity. In 1913, Ali founded the Moorish Science Temple of America in Newark, New Jersey. It was a spiritual, we know they talking about the Canaanite temple, spiritual and social organization and aim to promote self-improvement, self-empowerment among the African Americans. The organization grew rapidly, had chapters throughout the country. It was during this period that Ali began to incorporate elements of Judaism into his teachings. He believed that African Americans were the descendants of the ancient Israelites and they should reclaim their Jewish heritage. And he taught that the original Jews were black. We know they put that in the Bible, have been tampered with to hide their true identity. Sound like what him and Dixon them got into it over. The Moorish Zionist Temple was founded in 1920s as a branch of the Moorish Zionist Temple of America, not the other way around. It focused specifically on reclaiming the Jewish heritage of African Americans and promoting Zionism. The organization believed that the establishment of a homeland in Israel was essential for the spiritual and economic and political well-being of African Americans. It saw Zionism as a way for African Americans to connect with their ancestral roots and establish a strong cultural identity. And it went on, but we see here they saying the Moorish Zionist Temple come from our prophet. So you can read that further on your own. I want to get through this presentation. So here go your boy. We ain't seen him nowhere till now. Dr. Hamid Suleman, Abdul Hamid Suleman, co-founder of the Canaanite Temple, founder of the Mecca Medina Temple, 1922. He didn't come up until 1922. This is long after the prophet. And none of this here dealing with him teaching. Now, this is what they try to use to try to act like Suleman was over the Canaanite Temple, but the prophet had left by 1922. So he was dealing with your other boy now, Dixon, because they actually reincorporated the Canaanite Temple. We're going to show that to you in a minute after the prophet left. And it was reincorporated around 1924. But they was dealing with him. So Dr. Hamid Suleman, a native of Arabia, 143 West 130th Street in Manhattan. Let me blow that up. It say, in Manhattan, the high priest of Mecca, wonder how he became that, for a number of years, has inaugurated a movement for the spreading of Mohammedanism among the Negroes in the United States. Where is proof that Suleman was teaching what the prophet was teaching? Because Suleman was trying to teach Muhammaden Masonry, which is totally different from what a Muhammaden Muslim was demonstrating. A number of the Muslim groups have been started, particularly one in Newark, New Jersey. The original one was started by the prophet, and then we see that the hooligans bucked and went against the prophet because they love, the Christian doctrine so much so to where the prophet let them have it. And this is what Suleman was over, not, the prophet's demonstration. Right or wrong, Brother Sel?
Right.
It says, under the leadership, the temple, it is reported that has attracted large memberships, groups of Negro Muslims, and have combined with the Turkish and Syrian groups throughout the United States. Dr. Suleman has gathered together these groups with Turkish and Syrian groups in this country, and they have decided to erect a mosque in the northern part of the Manhattan Island. See, this is why they thinking Suleman was over the prophet. No, this was what the prophet left behind. Under his leadership, Dr. Suleman, there will be a movement conducted among the Negro people throughout the United States to convert them to Mohammedanism. And that was trying to teach Muhammaden Masonry, not Canaanite temple teachings. And this particularly says the same thing. This was from 1923, long after the prophet was gone, according to the last Canaanite temple member. They say he was a native of Suleman, Abdul Hamid Suleman. Uh-oh. I got to get this demonstration so it don't shut off on us. But anyway, this is going into the aspects of showing you that Suleman's family was pretty much, one that was moving around various different groups trying to do their thing. It even shows that, in certain history that it's a possibility, that, well, ain't no possibility. Actually, Deuce Muhammad was moving around with it. You know what I mean? So that's a whole nother drawing in and of itself. Trying to make sure this demonstration don't shut down on me. Come on, baby. All right. There we go. So anyway, so